Yeah, future me, you may hear a piano in the background, but that's because my neighbors are playing something really loudly, and I'm kinda pissed. I kinda wanna break their TV monitor right now. So, please enjoy this ranking as much as you can, even though it was kind of hell to actually record. See you on the video. Bye. I love you, John.
Good morning, gamers. Welcome to another ranking video. In this one, we're gonna rank every single Sonic final boss fight in the entire franchise. Now, here's the thing. We are gonna count every single mainline Sonic game, but we are not counting games like Sonic Riders or Shadow the Hedgehog because those are spin-offs. However, games like Secret Rings and The Black Knight, those are fair game. Now let's get to the ranking. Coming in at last place is Time Eater from Sonic Generations on the Xbox 360 PS3 version. This track is absolutely terrible. Horrendous, I might even say. So what do you do in this? It's really simple. You just press the X button to boost, try to hit him on this purple thingy, and pray to God you actually make it, because every time you're about to hit him, you get pushed back a lot of times, and it's so annoying. Something I also really hate is when Sonic's friends just don't shut the hell up. I get it, I have to be careful, you don't have to yell at me. And for some reason, when you actually kill the Time Eater, for some unexplained reason, the music that plays is Sonic 4 music. Why?
Sonic, press left bumper and right bumper at the same time to combine your powers.
Why go with that one? Why not a rendition of the classic themes, or go with something like Live and Learn? Why go with this one? Egg Spinner from Sonic CD. Holy shit, why? What is this? Already, Sonic CD has like the worst boss fights in the entire franchise. It is absolutely insane how bad those boss fights are. This boss fight is literally brain dead. Like, if it wasn't because Time Eater is so boring, Egg Spinner would definitely be at the bottom of this list. It doesn't matter if you lose rings, just, use that damage boost to hit him. Really, this boss fight is pathetic. Final Weapon from Sonic 3D Blast. This one is another one of the boss fights of all time, the third worst boss fight in the entire franchise for me. This track didn't do it for me, especially with these controls and the camera, and I just don't like this boss fight really. For being the first 3D Sonic game, technically, it really didn't age all too well. The Death Egg Robot from Sonic the Hedgehog 4. Yep. This is horrendous. It completely misses the point by having the homing attack. If it didn't have the homing attack, fine. But since it has the homing attack, it makes it such a pathetic boss fight, which is completely insane, because this boss fight used to be terrifying in Sonic the Hedgehog 2. In this game, it is absolutely trash. It is, like I said a million times before, Sonic the Hedgehog 4 is completely soulless, one of the worst games in Sonic history, and this boss fight is the culmination of everything that is wrong with this game. Of Layla Wa Layla. I recently played this. I recently played Sonic and the Secret Rings. It's not a good game. This boss fight is also not good. Although, unlike the other ones, I can actually, name some good things in this one. Like, Layla Wa Layla's design is cool. Darkspine Sonic is a beast! And the dialogue, it can be kinda raw sometimes. Now what's wrong with this boss fight? You are mostly fighting the controls. The Time Eater for the 3DS. Now this one, unlike the Sonic Generations one, you actually do something. What? You can actually move, you can actually attack the thing like a normal Sonic boss fight. However, that doesn't mean this boss fight itself isn't that good, but really compared to the freaking Generations one, this is like Metal Gear Solid 3 compared to like Superman 64. Ultimate Gemaro from Sonic Advance 3. Sonic Advance 3 is the weakest Sonic Advance game. It is one of the weaker 2D Sonic games, and in here, it is not even a contest. This boss fight is really mid. Although I do appreciate the fact that Sonic and Eggman are working together to defeat the big bad of the game. That's always appreciated. I love when Sonic games do that. But it still doesn't help that this boss fight itself is really mid. Egg Reverie from Sonic Mania. Replaying this boss fight, I just realized how mid this actually is, which is weird because Sonic Mania has some decent boss fights, but here is where they actually drop the ball. Although I do like that you are fighting two guys at the same time. I like that you're fighting the Reverie and you're fighting Robotnik at the same time. That is so cool, and it just proves that Super Sonic is one OP motherfucker. Egghar from Sonic the Hedgehog 4 Episode 2. This is another mid boss fight. Woo, man, Sonic the Hedgehog 4 Episode 2 is such a weird game to talk about because unlike Sonic the Hedgehog 4 Episode 1, this is a huge improvement, and really it could be like a decent game if you were a masochist, but the final boss fight, again, another mid piece of thing. Although I will say some positives. I do like that you're fighting Eggman and Metal Sonic. That's always appreciated when you get to fight two people at the same time. The design of the thing is surprisingly not bad. Although the ending after you beat the boss fight is completely trash because you know there was gonna be a episode 3. I'm glad they didn't do it, and I'm glad Sonic 4 isn't really canon. That is so funny. The games were that bad. Egg Crusher from Sonic the Hedgehog 1. Finally, we're at the first final boss fight in the entire franchise, and I actually do kind of enjoy it. I don't know, maybe it's because I really like tension in Sonic games. I like that you don't have any rings and it just it gives you an adrenaline pump. That's so good. It's basically kind of like Whack-A-Mole, but you're the mole and you're about to get whacked. The boss fight is actually kind of easy. Really, actually, I think it's the easiest final boss fight in the classic trilogy, aside from Egg Spinner, but we don't count that because that boss fight is trash. Hit him a couple times, you beat him, and you save the world. Super Egg Robot from Sonic Advance 1. Yep, this is kinda cool. I really like the background. I really like the fact that we're fighting on the moon. That's cool. I want more Sonic games where you fight on the moon. Not the actual moon though, but we'll get there later. The boss fight itself isn't that special. It's basically Doomsday Zone, but obviously not as intense. But it's still a really fun boss fight that you actually got to hit Eggman a couple times and you beat him, and that's it. The end. The final boss fight for Sonic Frontiers. Now I am completely split on this, okay? Because obviously as a boss itself, it's completely functional, it is fun. As a Sonic boss fight, however, it is not that good. Because when you have a Sonic game, where you're Super Sonic and you fight other Titans like Giganto, the Wyvern, Knight, and Supreme, which is which is the weakest one. And then you have a moon. Now I get it. That's what probably what Sonic is saying. Who knows what Sonic, Sage, the Ancients, or whoever there is, what they are actually seeing. We don't know that, but you know, I like the end because I like Tohu. If it wasn't for that, believe me, this would be like at the bottom half. But because I actually do like Tohu, it's right there. Not on the actual best of the boss fights, but not on the worst. Win-win for everybody, I think. I really like the music. The music is absolutely phenomenal. Otami cooked. And fun fact, the end is voiced by Mike Pollock. That guy is a freaking legend in the Sonic franchise. He voiced Ella from Sonic X and the end and Eggman. This guy can cook for real. Death Egg Robot from Sonic Forces. Yeah, when I replayed this, I actually kind of enjoyed it. Surprisingly enough. On the grand scheme of things, obviously this boss fight isn't special. Obviously, because it's just another copy of the Sonic Colors boss fight. The final boss fight, the Nega Wisp. The first phase is with classic Sonic, where you have to hit him with the rocks. It's basically Egg Dragoon all over again. The second phase is with the Avatar, hit his hands or his chest. It's fine. It's nothing too amazing, obviously. And the third phase, we all know the third phase, and I'm tired of seeing it every single time. The music is bopping. Now here's something they could have used for this final boss fight that for some reason they completely ignored. Null Space. You could have used it for this final boss fight. Why not? I swear to God, the more I think about this game, the more I hate it. Oh God. Maybe I shouldn't have put this in this high on the list. Fuck it, it's now on the bottom list. Egg Wizard for Sonic Rush Adventure. Maybe I'm a little bit biased here, but I like Egg Wizard. The music is really fucking great. The aesthetics is really cool. And I really like when Sonic games have a big bad guy that's too much for one person. So, you know, Sonic must team up with someone so they can actually beat it. Egg Robo for Sonic Lost World on the 3DS. This one is surprisingly nice. It is pretty much the same thing with the Wii U, so now let's just say it's a tie because it's basically the same thing. But I like the Wii U version more because, you know, it's prettier to look at. Mega Wisp Armor, Sonic Colors Ultimate. Yep. I really like this boss fight. I've said it a million times before, but dude, I just really enjoy it. Like the other two boss fights that I mentioned, this one, nowadays, it isn't that special. But back then, when this was first, it was the first Sonic final boss fight in a while where Sonic didn't need to turn supersonic. But I really like that Eggman uses the Wisp to attack you. That's really cool. The music is phenomenal. One of the best in the entire franchise. Especially for Phase 2. And the end with the... What's going on? Why is everybody making so much noise while I'm recording? This is kind of annoying. Can you guys please shut up? I'm making a ranking of the Sonic final... Oh, thank you. Oh, look, now there's more stuff going on. I'll keep recording when all this is over. Dark Gaia for Sonic Unleashed on the PlayStation 2 and the Wii version. Okay, here's the thing. Dark Gaia on the Wii version has things that I like more than in the Xbox 360 PS3 version. But overall, I think the HD version is obviously the better one. But let me explain why Perfect Dark Gaia here is so high up on the list. You know how in the HD version the Gaia Colossus is flying towards Dark Gaia? Well, yeah, this is not a thing in the Wii version, which I appreciate. Instead of that, we're playing Punch-Out! And if you know me, I love Punch-Out! The parts where you play Sonic is kinda better here than it is in the HD version, mainly because instead of doing one part as Sonic and then going back to the Gaia Colossus, you do the 3 Sonic parts at the same time, which I appreciate so much as well. And unlike the HD version, there isn't an invisible time limit. In here, you can take however you like. It's fine. You can take your time. All that is good, but here's the big catch. Super Sonic versus Perfect Dark Gaia. This part right here is where the boss fight fumbles, in my opinion. The only part I don't like is the Super Sonic part. Now, I understand they can't do it, just like the HD version. But, you know, they could have done something better than just Off Layla Wa Layla boss fight, only with Super Sonic. Now, to be fair, this isn't as bad as Off Layla Wa Layla, because at least here you have controls, actual controls. And all you have to do is attack its eyes, all of them. Instead of like in the HD version when you attack its center eye, you attack every single eye, which that's actually kind of cool. All of that while dodging meteors. So see, it is kind of the HD version, only nerfed. Amazing music, fantastic aesthetics. It's everything you like about Perfect Dark Gaia, only that a little bit easier. Metal Overlord. Now, I've said this quite a number of times, but I don't like Sonic Heroes that much. I think the game is not good. It has some slippery controls. Level design wise, it's not that good as well. But here's something I do think they did right, and that is the final boss fight, Metal Overlord. You control Super Sonic, Bubble Knuckles, and Bubble Tail, which is kind of dumb. All of that with one of the best final boss themes in the entire franchise, What I'm Made Of, is playing. Yeah, the way you actually damage that motherfucker is when you actually do a team attack, like it has always been in the entire game where you do team attacks. This team attack, however, is kind of weak. Really, on retrospect, this boss fight isn't that special, but I really enjoy it for what it is. I really enjoy how friendship is what defeats the big bad guy. I like how the music is incorporated in all this. I like the aesthetics of the world here. I don't know, it's really cool, and Metal Overlord's design is really raw, and I like it. True Area 53 boss. Yeah. Sonic Advance 2 is definitely a Sonic game. But damn it, I will admit it first, this final boss fight slaps! Now, this final boss fight, it's kinda like Doomsday Zone, but at the same time isn't. You have to boost your way to actually hit those missiles so you can damage the boss fight, which is, yeah, it's kind of easy. The music though, oh boy, one of the best final boss things in the entire franchise. And I really like the adrenaline this boss fight gives me. Now this might be a little bit controversial, but here we go. Solaris. Believe me guys, trust me, I'm not like many people in this fandom. I don't like Sonic 06. I think the game's a big piece of garbage. I think the game almost killed the franchise and it should be remembered as so. And I think that game should be like it sucks. It really sucks. I hate it. I hate the game. However, when it does something right, we gotta talk about it. And Solaris, this final boss fight, might be one of the most climactic boss fights not only in Sonic, but in gaming if we really think about it. In this boss fight, you use Super Sonic. Don't ask how he transforms into Super Sonic, please don't. Super Shadow and Super Silver. This is the first time we're using Super Silver, and the last time I think. And something I really like about this boss fight, it's the theming. Like for example, Sonic is fighting Solaris in the present, Shadow is fighting it in the past, Silver is fighting it in the future. This motherfucker is omnipresent, omniscient, whatever.
Omnipotent.
Some of the quotes from our heroes are some of the best in the entire franchise, and the delivery for them are great. For example, Shadow's "I will release you from the chains of your past." Beautiful. Silver is kind of meh, it's just "I'll protect the future," that's just boring. But Sonic's quote, "The present day, the here and now that you've stolen, time to take it back." This is fire! How do we take on this boss fight? First, we use Silver, then we use Shadow, and then we use Sonic, and we think, oh, is that it? That was kind of easy for an omnipotent god. And that's the thing, it's not over. There's a second phase, which is pretty much the same, but harder. Even though the boss fight itself doesn't change that much, aside from a lot of lasers and more attacks than usual, the music. Holy shit, the music! This should be in the Hall of Fame for video game music. Cause oh my god, Solaris Phase 2 is one of the greatest pieces of music not only in Sonic, not only in video games, but in media. Sure, I don't like to use Silver that much, cause most of the time when I try to hit him, it doesn't hit him. I like using Shadow and Sonic more, because Sonic just straight up punches him, and then Shadow shoots Chaos Spears. Silver just throws stuff at him. Silver is kinda lame. Okay, Silver is the lamest character in this game. Perfect Chaos! This is the first ever Super Sonic final boss fight in 3D Sonic. And I think they did a banga job. Now this boss fight is kinda similar to Doomsday Zone. You have to fly towards the final boss fight to damage it, and you damage it by hitting it in the head. You become a big ball of piss when you're inside of him and then hit him in the face. That's epic! And this is the first time also that we're getting a vocal track as the final boss fight in a Sonic game. Open Your Heart by Crush 40. This song is a banger. I guess if there's something it could have done better is its difficulty, because I feel like this boss fight is super easy. One of the easiest in the franchise in my opinion. And I feel like the ending where the music changed and the tonal changed, I feel like that was a big missed opportunity to make the boss fight a little bit harder. You know, maybe Perfect Gaia can harm you, I don't know, but I feel like it was too easy, even on the final phase of the boss fight. But even then, this boss fight is a banger, I really enjoy it, and really, it's really cool. Egg Salamander from Sonic Rush. I might be a little bit biased here because you get to play as Burning Blaze and she's fucking awesome. But the boss fight itself, it's really freaking cool. I really enjoy this part of the boss fight, and it's kind of a throwback to Doomsday Zone, which is a boss fight, spoiler alert, I absolutely adore. So how do you take on these bad boys, Eggman and Dr. Eggman N-word? Well, you just have to boost on those thingies and then hit him. And this is one of the only times that Super Sonic can actually be hurt. Sure, Eggman creates a black hole and that hurts Sonic, but Super Sonic, but still, it's hurting him, and that's kind of cool. And the boss fight itself, it isn't that hard, it ain't easy either, it's just on the middle road of difficulty, which I like. Speaking of Doomsday Zone. Now, the last time I did a tier list, I said that Doomsday Zone was my favorite final boss fight in the entire series. But no, actually the more I've played these games, the more I realize, nah, this final boss fight, as much as I love it, it ain't really like a top 5, but I have a lot of respect for this final boss fight. It's the first time in the Sonic series where Super Sonic is required for the final boss fight. That's awesome. It's also the first time we're flying in space, which is double awesome. And if you know me, I love tension in Sonic games, and the music is riddled with that. It is amazing. I love the music so much. It gives me the nerves, and it's just so ooh. Now, the only thing I don't like about this boss fight is that it's a little bit too easy, if that's, you know, an actual issue. But for me, I like when a final boss fight is on the perfect side of difficulty. Not too hard, not too easy. Maybe a little bit harder, you know, but still, I feel like this is a bit too easy, which it kind of damages the boss for me a little bit. But still, this boss fight has done so much for the Sonic franchise, which I appreciate, and I will always love it and respect it. Big Arms, the final boss fight of the first half of Sonic the Hedgehog 3. You know, at first I wasn't gonna count this, but then I thought about it, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna count this shit. This boss fight is genuinely pretty difficult, which I like. It is actually the first final boss fight to actually damage Super Sonic. It can even kill him, which is shocking, let me tell you that much. You thought Knuckles punching the Chaos Emeralds out of Super Sonic was OP as hell? Dude, the Big Arms can kill him. The music is fan-fucking-tastic. Out of every single classic Sonic boss fight theme, this is my favorite. Like, of every single classic Sonic stuff, this is my favorite. I doubt anything will ever top it. I don't even think Sonic Superstars is gonna top it. And I'm kind of excited for that game, because T-Lopes, I love T-Lopes. The point is, I love Big Arms, and I absolutely hate the fact that they changed that boss fight and Knuckles attachment. That is so stupid, and I will never be mad. Dark Queen. Jesus. Okay. You guys might be thinking, you are one crazy motherfucker that has a shit opinion, and I agree. My opinion is shit. But hear me out. I didn't know how to talk about this boss fight for the better part of a couple of days. Because where do I start here? Okay, I can start with the music. The greatest vocal track theme for a final boss fight in a Sonic game? Yes, for me at least. And hear me out, I absolutely love the Titan boss fight themes, you know, Undefeatable, Break Through It All, Find Your Flame, I'm Here. I love those songs. And I love What I'm Made Of. I love Open Your Heart. I love Live and Learn. I love those themes. But this one, it just hits different for me. Because the song itself, it feels like it's a conversation between Sonic and Merlina. You know, like, let me sing it for you. You know, every world will have its end, That's Sonic talking to Merlina. I'm here to prove it all to you. That's Sonic to Merlina. I am who you don't think I am, all wrapped up in my evil plan. That's Merlina talking to Sonic, and that is so amazing. I love this. I can also go for the narrative, you know. Story-wise, this boss fight is beautiful. The fact that Sonic is willing to stop this woman, crazy person, monster thingy of Doom. She wants to make a kingdom eternal, but by doing that, it also creates a hell to live in. And Sonic is like, hell no, I'ma kill you, bitch. So Sonic is there fighting against Merlina. Like it's, I love this. I could go for the gameplay as well, because I already said this, I enjoyed this game. I really did. And I really come to terms that, you know what, this boss fight is actually really fun to play. And if you're really good at the game, you can beat Merlina in 20 seconds. That is insane. I've said this before and I say it again. That is insane. You slash through her enough times and then you beat her, you give her a thumbs up, and you show her that living life to the fullest is the only way to live. Man, I love this boss fight. And, you know, Sonic and the Black Knight really isn't a top 10 game for me. But over the last couple of months, I'm starting to think it might be for me. Nigga, mother, whiz. I talked a lot for Sonic and the Black Knight, but really, Sonic Colors DS is a really, really fun game. I love that here you actually get a Super Sonic final boss fight, unlike the Wii version, which you don't, which is so stupid for some reason. At least it's not like in Sonic Forces with Super Sonic as paid DLC. That is it. So that's the dumbest thing ever. I really enjoy the music here. I love fighting this giant mother wisp thing. She has a cool design as well, bro. It's kind of similar to Perfect Dark Gaia for the Wii version, which you have to fly towards her and attack her giant thingy. I think that's an eye. I don't actually remember what that is. Try not to get hit by the lasers, and no, she cannot harm you. She's not that OP, okay? Now these last three have been the hardest choice ever. Well, not for number one. Number one was easy for me. But number 2 and 3, these were super hard, and I always change my opinion if this should be in number 3 or number 2. But fuck it, I'm gonna say number 3 goes to the Death Egg robot from Sonic 2. I've said this a million times before, but I love tension in Sonic games, and this is no exception. I just love the fact that you have no rings. I love how it's nerve-wracking. Oh my god, I'm always shaking my boots when I'm playing this boss fight. And if you're playing the Knuckles version, oh boy, that one's even harder. But it's always fun to get my ass kicked, only for me at the end to actually beat this asshole. And unlike many other boss fights in Sonic 2, which are, I'm gonna be honest here, they're mostly mid. I love Sonic 2, but those boss fights are mid. This one, it takes like 16 hits, which is like, retro Shaggy, this one is actually kinda harder than expected. Like, you beat it, you run towards the exit, you jump, you're falling through space. Yes, you can't breathe underwater, but space, totally fine. And I absolutely love the ending. Not the Super Sonic ending, though it is a cool ending and the poses are pretty cool. I enjoy the quote-unquote bad ending way more because it just shows that their friendship, the friendship between Sonic and Tails, and it's adorable. I love that. Number 2, Final Hazard. Now, okay, I don't know where to start with this. For the whole game, Sonic and Shadow have been fighting against each other, trying to kill each other, only for at the end, for them to go super and fight the giant lizard thing that has a space station up his butt. It makes sense in context. No, I will not give context. Live and Learn might as well be the most iconic song in Sonic history. That or City Escape, but we don't count that. There's a reason why people think Live and Learn is the best Crush 40 song, and I absolutely get the hype. I love Live and Learn as well. I love the trope when enemies unite to defeat a bigger threat. That is a trope I will never get tired of. You have to be careful and not get hit. You don't lose rings, but you get sent back, and that's kind of annoying. But the good thing is that, you can change between characters. And you know how in Sonic the Hedgehog 2006, I always have to hit Solaris with Sonic at the end? Well, it's different here. I always gotta hit the final hazard with Shadow at the end because it makes the most sense story-wise. But gameplay-wise, it is really fun actually to try not to get hit, try not to get sent back every time. I like the difficulty. It is a pretty hard boss fight, I will admit that, but it is still really freaking fun. Dark Gaia, the HD version of Unleashed. This boss fight is super mega hard. You start with the Gaia Colossus, trying to reach Dark Gaia, try not to get hit by those rocks, his laser, and then when you get to him, you punch the shit out of him, and it's so satisfying. Then you play as Sonic, where you try to reach his eyes and hit him in the eye, and then we go back to the Gaia Colossus, rinse, repeat. We play with the Gaia Colossus 3 times, which they are fine. God, it's really hard actually sometimes. And then we get Sonic 3 times. Now the thing with Sonic is that there is a invisible time limit and we have to reach its eyes before the time runs out. And then that is easier said than done. But once you do that, we get Super Sonic versus Perfect Dark Gaia. The beginning of the boss fight is really similar to Doomsday Zone with the giant meteors, and you fly towards Dark Gaia, and then Dark Gaia creates a big ass shield. I'm gonna say this now, this is the most cinematic supersonic battle in the entire franchise. It feels like the end, not only the end of an era here, it feels like the end of the franchise. Part of me is kind of wishing that was the case, not gonna lie. Anyway, when you reach Dark Gaia, it creates a big ass shield, and you have to take out its tentacles, grows, and then Chip, with the Gaia Colossus, fights Perfect Dark Gaia. But you have to be really fast or else Chip will die. But you also have to be careful that Supersonic doesn't get hit because he loses rings, and in this case, he has a health bar. But if he gets hit, which by the way, Dark Gaia might be the most powerful motherfucker in the entire franchise because he can actually damage Supersonic. Supersonic almost died, by the way. You hit him enough, and then the shield is broken, and then he captures Chip, and then we have to go fly, do a quick time event, which I don't like quick time events, but in here it fits. You hit its arms, the 6 arms, and then he fires a gigantic beam at Chip, and you press the X button like 80 million times, and then he gets one Falcon Punch, and then Sonic goes flying towards its eye, and then it kills him! Holy shit! Supersonic one-shots Perfect Dark Gaia. Oh my god, I can gush for hours of how much I love this final boss fight. I didn't even get to the music, which I always do. The music is fantastic. It's probably like the best final boss theme in the entire franchise. I love the end's final boss theme. I love it. This one, however, smashes it to the ground. I love this final boss fight. I love final boss fights in Sonic, guys. What do you want me to say? Most of them are really good. With that being said, thank you guys for watching this video, or listening, or whatever. This took a while to make. I've been pretty sick, so I apologize there. Thank you guys again for watching. I will see you in the next video. I don't know what video it's gonna be. Maybe it's gonna be the Mario Kart 64 ranking, or maybe not. Who knows? I'll see you then. Take care, everybody, and cue the music. Oh, I'm gonna faint. Yeah, before the music faints, this video was done editing on the same day that the update 3 for Sonic Frontiers came out. So, if there's any changes for the end or Supreme or whoever it is to final boss fight, I'm sorry it's not in this video. I'm sorry to say, but I am not a prophet.